Hey, you're back with the Get Out Deck Guy. I'm Steve Rhode, the old, authentic, original Get Out Deck Guy. With me, as always, is Damon Day, the new Get Out Deck Guy. Say hello, Damon.
Hey guys, how you doing?
I like your hello. it's February 5th. And if you've made a New Year's resolution about your debt, like so many people did, strategically speaking, you've probably already abandoned it. Let's not feel bad about it. I mean, let's just say what it is. The gym is empty again. The meal prep containers are back in the cabinet. And the credit card statements you swore you'd tackle are probably still sitting in a pile. Well, look, we're not here to judge. We're not here to make you feel bad. We're here to help you. And I'm here to tell you February 5th works just as well as January 1st to start your resolution to dig yourself out of debt. The calendar doesn't know the difference, so today we're going to start again. But before we get into it, Damon, I've been back covering the news again, and on the getoutofdebt.org site, if people subscribe to the weekday email, they can get all the latest stories, and there have just been just so many of them. And so this week, we were going to try something different. We were going to each pick a story or two and cover that. And you made an observation that the stories seem to be overwhelmed with scams this week.
Yeah, all you have to do is go look at the most recent articles and scroll through the first 4 or 5 pages, and every other article, and some even back to back, or so-and-so was scammed on this, and so-and-so got scammed out of that, and this person so many scams, Steve.
I know. Well, and that's the problem, is that people are required to become their own financial police and to protect themselves. And what absolutely blows my mind is a story that broke today that I just wrote about an hour ago. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau just appointed the Department of Treasury dude to be the head of it, and he immediately ceased all collections, all enforcement, all actions, all return of money to consumers. It's dead in the water. So the primary watchdog that was protecting consumers and went after scammers and fraudsters is essentially just lights are off, doors are closed. I don't know what people are supposed to do. The other thing that caught my attention this week was another story that came out about the government wants to redo their financial literacy programs.
I saw that.
which drives me crazy again, because even the guy for the Jumpstart Coalition that was responsible for driving financial literacy programs across the country for years and years, even he came out and said, yeah, these things don't work.
Yeah.
And the reason they don't work is specifically because I have a calculator on the getoutofdebt.org website. It's the money personality calculator. You can find it linked in the footer on all the pages. But financial literacy doesn't work. People don't score better because they took a class, because the way we deal with money is driven by our subconscious or unconscious way that we handle money. It has nothing to do with knowing the right answer. We have to be aware that it's emotion that drives our financial decisions, not math.
Yeah. 100%. So, but at least I like the fact that they're trying. They've identified a lot of people in our country don't know how to handle money.
Yeah.
And it's easy to take advantage of people. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a 2-stage problem, right? Number one is you can't just give everybody a class. As I've always said, if you're pushing financial literacy classes like in junior high school, it's like teaching kids driver's ed 4 years before they get in the car, right? It's got no relationship to reality. So let's say that we teach high school kids this stuff. Well, the facts show that the number one driver of how people learn about how to handle money, credit, debt, and all that stuff is not a class at any age, in any school, or in college. It's primarily by what we observed, what we grew up with, what our parents taught us by their actions, not by the book. And so my number one thing is, and this is why that money personality test on the website, again, the link is in the footer, is so important, because I think the most educational thing that people can do is at least understand how they unconsciously deal with money, and then they can make informed decisions. So, I mean, what good does it do to spend millions and millions again on more financial literacy that has proven time and time again over the last 20 years to be ineffective? How is rehashing that a good investment? I mean, that's just poor financial literacy all in itself.
Yeah. Well, again, the government can't, step in and be a substitute for the money lessons that mom and dad taught you. But I don't think it hurts to try. Some people at a young age can latch onto those lessons and carry it through. Most of us won't, but at least they're trying.
Well, just say no. That's always been so effective. Well, it comes around to the scam stories. So, the CFPB essentially lights out as of today. So there's not going to be any really aggressive protection. The CFPB had done a number of things. This is how insane things are becoming. So the CFPB last year passed a regulation that said that medical debt would no longer appear on credit reports, and then just recently objected to their own regulation.
Yeah, well, I've always been of the belief, and I still am, and CFPB or whatever, that's fine, but I'm always of the belief nobody's going to be there to save you. You have to protect yourself. You have to
That's
protect
true.
your family,
That's
right?
true.
Especially as our parents, our grandparents, they're aging. They grew up in a very different world. I mean, imagine you're 80 years old and you get a phone call that sounds like it's your granddaughter, saying, I'm in jail and I need some money and I'm in Mexico, and it sounds just like her. That was not a world that you grew up in.
Right.
And it's, it's just, you have to look out for you, and you have to be smart, and you have to be, but even being smart and being vigilant, there's been times, I've almost even fallen for something, right? You
Oh,
see
I know,
something
me
and
too.
it looks right, and you're like, oh yeah, I got to do that. And then you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And then, there's been, I know a few times I've called you, but like, bro, I almost freaking, put my information in this thing. And then the last second I was like, wait, what is that? I mean, they're getting so sophisticated. And if I barely catch it,
Yeah.
I mean, what chance does my grandfather have of catching it? He's logging and barely seeing his Facebook or whatever.
Yeah.
And he sees a thing, oh, you need to do this. And, it's great to have the CFPB and the attorney generals, and it's needed. I'm not saying it's not needed, because without it, then it's just a wild west and the scammers go crazy. But it's not like you're going to be in a situation where if you get scammed out of $100,000, the CFPB is going to step in and go after them. And even if they do, that you're going to then get restitution. You're going to get your $100,000 back. The chances of you ever getting your money back are very, very slim. Even if there is agencies that are there to go after these people, the money's gone, right? So you have to be your best advocate. You have to be vigilant. You have to look out for yourself. You can't just rely on some government entity like, well, if I get scammed, I'll report it and they'll fix it for me. You're right.
I mean, that's not going to happen.
You're going to lose your life savings. I mean, you see in these articles that you're writing about, people getting scammed out of their entire life savings. And it's a big story. And they're going to, all these agencies, we're going to go after them. But in the meantime, I think there was one story, the guy got scammed out of $800,000.
Yeah.
His whole life savings, an elderly gentleman. He's not going to get that money back.
No, the reality is that he's not. There was another story that was similar to that I think this other one was about 700. I don't think I wrote about it, but this was a guy who was starting dementia, was living on his own. He was 90 years old, and somehow people were cashing checks on his account with a clearly fraudulent signature. Was not him. And by the time he caught it, the bank said, sorry, we investigated it, but you didn't report it within the 60-day window. And so, he was out the money. I think that the lesson that we should all learn from all the stories is, I agree with you. There's nobody out there looking out for you but you. And again, on the getoutofdebt.org site, down at the bottom in the footer, there are two important links. One is the one for the contract decoder. So if somebody's trying to sell you something that's about debt help, financial help, a loan, anything to do with money, credit, debt, if you use the contract decoder, it'll help explain all the terms in plain English so that you can make a good decision. The other one is the, I don't know if you've used this yet or not, Damon, but the scam-o-meter.
I did it last night.
It's pretty handy.
Yeah, the reality is, if anything sounds too good to be true, if there's anything in your gut saying, I'm not sure, I think I shared the story last week of the lady I spoke with a few weeks ago that had been taken for quite a bit of money, and she was embarrassed about it, and she knew it kind of in the middle of it, but they're so good at, we can get you your money back, but you have to give us more money so we can give you this money back. And they got so sophisticated where they were acting as if they were the, like attorneys and part of the government for this country. And hey, yeah, we're going after these scammers for you. And, we know they took that money from you. We just need whatever, $5,000 so we can do this, so we can go out.
Release your money. Yeah.
It's anytime anybody asks you for money to get you money, it is a scam. Anytime, every time. Do not ever send any money to clear customs, to do anything. It is a scam.
You're absolutely right.
Even my mother, this happened to my mom a couple years ago. She's extremely intelligent lady, college degree, smart as a whip, right? And she called and told me the story. She ended up giving these scammers a $200 Amazon gift card.
Yeah, a gift card.
Yeah. And the abbreviated story was somehow they got her on the phone, and she had a substantial amount of money in her checking account at the time, more than she would normally have. And for whatever reason, timing, whatever, they gave her the whole song and dance about there was hacking or whatever. Somebody got we're the bank or whatever it was. I can't remember, but I told her when she's telling me the story, I'm like, Mom, why didn't you call me?
Right.
What? And she goes, well, they were saying there was quite a bit of money in the account, right? And she goes, here was my thinking on it. I was pretty sure it was a scam, but they made it seem like I had to deal with it right away. I was in the parking lot. I knew it was shady, but my thinking was, well, if I'm right and it's a scam, worst case scenario, I'm out $200. If I'm wrong and what they're saying is true, I could be out a significantly larger amount of money. So she went and got the gift card, sent it in, and then I think the next day she'd called me. And I'm like, Mom, that was a scam. What are you doing? And of course, they called her back after, we need this.
Now she's a mark.
Yeah, now she hung up the phone. But, if it could happen to her, it could happen to anybody. And I was like, well, your logic was sound. You weighed the pros and the risks, and well, losing $200 is better than losing a whole bunch more. So, but luckily, she figured that out right away and was like, I don't know why I did that, but I shouldn't have done it. But I hear that over and over when I talk to people, and a lot of my clients, but that happens where, I have $50,000 in debt. Most of it was a scam. I was doing fine. I had a great credit score. I had no debt. And now I unfortunately got involved in this thing, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And before you knew it, I'm maxed out on all my credit cards. I don't know what to do. I've got a fixed income.
Well, Yeah, I think you've talked to so many people this week. I think you probably talked to somebody who like fell for a pitch they got about consolidating their debt, and maybe it was actually a loan, and then they wound up in the same situation again, just deeper in debt.
Well, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Because people, they go, oh, okay, I've got all this debt, high interest. I know I'll get a consolidation loan. It's lower interest. But the problem is they're trying to attack the debt and they're not addressing the cash flow at the same time. So they get this new loan, and what they don't realize at the time is the new loan is going to be paid off a lot faster than that credit card was. So they're still negative on the cash flow. And if you're negative on the cash flow, and now you got this brand new freed up credit limit on your credit card because you just consolidated, guess where the groceries and the gas are going to have to go back to?
Exactly.
And then before you know it, that happens. It's very common. It's very common. Somebody will come, hey, I've got 40 grand in credit card debt, but I also got $25,000 in personal loans. And I already know the answer to this question, but I'll say, why did you get the personal loan? I got the personal loan to consolidate the credit card debt. And then they kind of laugh and they can go, you see how that worked out for me?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. So we need to address the cash flow issue first. We got negative cash flow. We address that, fix that. Now we can take a step back and solve the debt in a way that's not going to have you backslide into it, because we fixed the actual problem, which is not enough coming in, too much going out.
The issue with the CFPB essentially shutting their doors is there were three things that were in process. One was the medical debt ban that would have removed medical bills from credit reports.
Mm-hmm.
The second one was limiting overdraft fees to $5 and capping credit card late fees to $8 from $32. I totally agree that people should be responsible for themselves. But, government should also be responsible for not allowing us to be knowingly ripped off.
Oh, I agree 100%, because if you don't have that, then the scammers get emboldened and there's a lot more of them and they get more sophisticated. There's no ramifications. My point is, even with those agencies there, you're not going to get your money back. So you can't just live out here in the society willy-nilly, putting money at anybody that sounds good and then expect, oh, well, the CFPB is going to go out. If it's a scam, the government's going to step in and get me my money back, because they won't. They definitely serve a purpose, and it's good that they're there.
Yeah, they try to shut down the scammers.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what that does is that helps future victims, but it doesn't help the past victims.
Well, you're right, because, it is the rare story where I write about somebody who had been scammed and they actually got some of their money back, especially if it involved some sort of cryptocurrency.
Oh, we call that the unicorn. Somebody actually got their money back.
Yeah. I think the state of Massachusetts, it's a story that I'm working on probably after the podcast. State of Massachusetts is going after the Bitcoin ATM people. You walk into the convenience store and you see the Bitcoin ATM. I don't know if you've ever seen one.
I have.
Okay, but on my true crime podcast, there's a naked pitch for that, truecrimeunheard.com. I did a episode recently where this person was paying the scammer through one of those Bitcoin ATMs, and the fee to use it was 25%.
Well, the thing with cryptocurrency is it's even so much easier to scam people, because a lot of these regulatory agencies can't even track the money. They're not even sophisticated enough yet, or up to the times, or even if they were, it's not even possible.
Able. Yeah.
Yeah. So, look, I'm 48. I don't know if I'm too old or what, but this idea that, you get this crypto, you put it on the cold wallet or whatever, and you forget that password and you lose all your money.
Yeah.
It's just like, man, that's rolling the dice.
Remember the guy back in the day that had all his crypto on a hard drive that he threw away?
Yeah.
He's still trying to buy that dump.
Yeah, he's like, it's worth like what? It's crazy. It was like $500 million according to him or something, and it's on a hard drive in a landfill. And to me, that is, I don't know. I can't wrap my head around being that vulnerable with that kind of money. And if it goes poof in the night, or you lose your password, or somebody hacks it and it's done, there's no, at least we have FDIC insurance with banks, you know.
Right.
I mean, at least in the normal banking system, there are some protections where it's a lot easier to lose all your crypto than it is to lose,
yeah.
you know, all your savings at Chase
Yeah.
Bank.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
know, it's
Well,
just it's crazy.
Let's pivot away from the stories. The bottom line, I think, on
Pivot.
I should not have said that. I think the bottom line on us talking about the stories is, if you go to getoutofdebt.org and subscribe to the weekday email, you can at least be aware and informed in advance about all the shit that's happening out here. So at least you can have a heads up. It's the only way. If there isn't going to be anyone out there to protect you, it's the only way that you can protect yourself.
Yeah, the average person is not going to, you know, if it's not right in front of your face, you don't even realize it's happening, right? Like when people talk about how, you know, kidnapping and everything is all crazy these days, and no matter where you go, you're going to die and you're going to get abducted and all this stuff. And I always go, well, is it really more than it used to be, or is there just more wall-to-wall coverage?
Right.
And so we see it more than we, in the 80s, I mean, unless you drank milk, you didn't know a kid was missing.
Mm-mm.
Right? I mean, so it's the same with this. The average person is not really this. You're not going to think about financial scams, on the daily, right? But all of a sudden, with you start seeing this stuff, and this is why Steve and I get fired up about it, because we see it every day.
Yeah.
And so you are on that newsletter, and it's this scam and this scam and this scam. The nice thing is you can glance at it and see, oh, they did this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And then you could recognize it if it potentially happened to you, because these guys are freaking sophisticated.
Yeah. Right now, it's tax time, and they're pretending that they're the IRS and calling and scaring people for money. But the new version is they're calling and pretending they're like H&R Block and TurboTax and scaring you for money. So
yeah.
It never ends. It absolutely never ends. Every day is...
it used to be easy. We used to be like, oh, the email, I'm a Saudi prince, click, delete,
Yeah. Nigerian prince. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to find somebody trustworthy where I can ship in this $5 million to the U.S.
Yeah.
All I need is $5,000 to clear the customs, and I can send you $5 million. It used to be easy, right?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, thanks, but no thanks. Click, delete that.
Yeah. And these days you get a text message, totally looks legitimate. I got one this morning that was like, oh, I know what it was. It looked like it was from Amazon, and it said that I had a recall on a product that I bought recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I could clearly see that link was not going to take me to anything related to Amazon.
Yeah, but if you're 80 years old and you're not really sure how that works,
well,
and
I'm
buy a few things here and there on Amazon, you're clicking the link and you're going, oh my gosh, what's going to kill me that I bought at Amazon? I need to figure it out. Maybe you need to just send $200 so they can get the recall, and then there's this big settlement and you're going to get $5,000. I don't know.
I think
don't know
people
what the
that
story is, but
feel tempted to fall for it should call your mom.
My mom would not be appreciative.
She would be like, oh, honey, don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we all got a laugh out of it, and she was just like, I knew it was a scam, but on the slight chance it wasn't. She's like, it was worth the $200 for the peace of mind. And I'm like, well,
okay.
Mom, next time you feel the urge to send an Amazon gift card to somebody for $200,
send it
to me. Yeah, I'll take care of it.
It's a scam. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Any gift card, anybody wants a gift card, it's a scam.
Yeah. All right. So let's get back into February and talk about why January's kind of slipped by. The resolution didn't really stick, but January was fueled by emotion and hope. February, a whole different month. We're talking a whole different game plan here, because February requires action. The other day, Damon, you talked to somebody that listened to what we had to say in one of last month's podcasts about total up your bills. And what was their reaction when they did that?
Yeah, that was actually just yesterday. I spoke with them and they said, yeah, they were listening to the podcast and they sat down, they totaled everything up and they were shocked. And they said, look, we knew it was a lot, but we didn't realize how much it was until we actually sat down, both him and his wife, and totaled it up and went, holy moly, we need to do something. This is not sustainable.
Yeah. They could make the payments,
Oh, yeah,
but
for sure.
they were making a lot of payments. So
Yeah.
the gap between knowing what to do and doing it is where most people fail.
Yeah. And unfortunately, when people don't add it up and really take a look at it and get proactive with it, when they realize they have a problem is when they start going negative in their checking account and then going, hey, what's going on? Why are we not able to pay all of our bills? And then they start looking at it and go, oh, crap. So if you're in a situation where you're not feeling the pinch, I mean, you're paying all your bills, everything's covered, that's the best time to figure out how much you actually owe. Because if you don't consciously know what you're dealing with, it's very easy to push the can down the road because, oh, we're covering everything, no big deal. But when you take the time to add that up and then you start looking at the opportunity costs, we're spending $2,000 a month in debt. If that debt was gone, what else could we do with that $2,000 a month over the next year, 2 years, 5 years?
Yeah.
And how much that's actually costing you and your family just by keeping the status quo and rolling the debt down the road. Steve, what's our favorite 2 words here on the podcast?
Hyperbolic discounting.
Hyperbolic discounting. Look it up.
Well, so what's the cost of a delay, right? If you're spending $2,000 a month in interest and you kick the can down the road, that's just another $2,000 that you threw away.
Yeah, and it's a lot more than $2,000, right? You start putting that into some financial calculators on what's the opportunity cost, what could I be doing with that $2,000, and it can make you sick how much it's going to cost you just to not know your numbers and just continue to make the payments thinking, I got this, I make a good income, I can handle it, without a clear plan and path to get rid of the debt. If you're carrying debt, you're just making the bankers rich.
Yeah.
Why not make yourself rich?
Well, and if you have a question, if you're wondering about a situation that you're facing, or all of a sudden you've realized that somebody turned on the oh shit fan, then contact Damon. Damon Day, DAMONDAY.com. Go to his website. It's a beautiful website. And reach out and contact him. Schedule a free consultation. Talk it through, because what you're dealing with right now, it's not weakness. It's not failure. It's just human psychology, like we talked about before. It's just money personality and the way that people deal with money, credit, debt. It's hard to change, and it's hard to be somebody other than yourself. But at least you can get a guide, a friend, somebody that can point you in the right direction. And Damon, you've talked to lots of people where you just have a free consultation and then they go off, and at least they have the knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's situation is different, right? So sometimes all they need is just somebody to bounce something off of. Hey, this is my situation. I was thinking about this, this, and this. And once in a while, I'll say, yeah, that's good. Do that.
Yeah.
But most of the time, I'll say, well, I could see that. But have you thought about this?
But
which is fine, right? It's just a different perspective from somebody that's been doing this stuff for 25 years. And so I have a little insight that most consumers don't have.
the cost of not finding an answer and not gathering information is that it's just going to be another month that you're throwing money away, another month that you're in more stress. Maybe you got behind, another month that you're getting calls. And the mental cost of not knowing what to do is going to drag you down in so many ways, because not dealing with your debt leads to depression. Depression leads to not taking action. And then before you know it, you're in that circular flow in the toilet bowl, slowly going down the drain, pissed off, stressed, just out of your mind, can't sleep, worried, anxious, everything else. There's a solution. There's a solution for every financial problem.
There is. Absolutely. And it's just a matter of walking through the different strategies. How would this affect me? You know, I talk to clients about bankruptcy, as one of the options.
Mm-hmm.
And the reactions are always like, I don't want to do bankruptcy. And I was like, I'm not saying you have to do bankruptcy, but it's not a good idea to dismiss it before you understand it, just like anything else, right? The
Yeah.
best approach is to look at all of the options and then systematically cross them off the list until you find what makes the most sense for your specific situation, right? And that's the thing that kills me about the entire debt relief space. Just pisses me off because everybody only focuses on, you have to do this because this is what we sell. So this
Right.
is what I'm pitching. And every person you talk to tells you theirs is the best. Everybody else sucks, right? No matter what it is. And they talk to you for 10 minutes and here's your plan. They don't know shit from shinola, as they say, about your situation, but yet I've got the plan that's going to save you, get you out of $50,000 in debt. And I barely even know your name.
Well,
Make that make sense.
Yeah. Well, how about this? Make this make sense. All right. Bankruptcy is called a fresh start. And those people that you're talking about say it is the last resort. So,
yeah.
So your last resort is a fresh start.
Yeah. And it's not, it's just a resort.
Right.
Just like, negotiated settlement is a resort. And, negotiated interest rates, lower interest rates is a resort. And even Dave Ramsey's strategies can work, but they don't work, in my opinion, they don't work for the vast majority of people, contrary to popular belief in marketing that's out there. I'm not saying it's a bad strategy for everybody. Nothing is a bad strategy for everybody. But everything is a bad strategy for some people.
Right. Again, it comes back to, what is your money personality? If you can understand, if you do take the money personality test or don't, but if you understand that you are not somebody that is driven by every little penny and keeping track of every little dime, then you should know going in that doing a Dave Ramsey budget all your pennies thing for the next 5 years, it's not going to work. You're not going to be able to keep up with it.
That's the difference between my wife and I. She's the one that's very meticulous, got to keep the books and all that stuff. I'm the one that's just kind of like, let's roll with it, right? So when we first got married, she was all, and this was back in the days before you had all these apps that could track all your, spending automatically and all this stuff. So you had to old school it, right? You had to manually track it. So I would go and, get gas or something. And she'd be like, well, how much do you spend on gas? Because she's tracking everything.
Yeah.
And I would say, $39. And she'd go, exactly $39? Well, no, it's like 38 and change, but just round up to 39 and you'll be fine. There'll be extra money. Like, I don't need it down to the penny. I just need to not overdraw the account, right?
Yeah.
And she couldn't hang with that. It was like, no, $38 and what cents? Like she was one that would chase that penny down because it would just mentally, it would drive her crazy if it didn't balance. Back in the days when people used to balance
checkbook, yeah.
But to me, I just was that drove me crazy trying to balance just overestimate and you'll end the month with extra money and move on with your life. That's my personality.
Right. Well, it's funny because, we're old enough now that we remember that you could actually balance your checkbook. You probably still can.
You had a register and everything.
Yeah, and you'd sit down once a month and you'd go through, compare your bank statement to what was in your checkbook register and balance checkbook. But, these days...
Raise your hand if you still do that. Nobody raises their hand.
I actually was looking at one of my credit card statements the other day. I pay the card off every month. I don't carry a balance. But sometimes you just got to go through and see what you're actually paying for. You might still be subscribed to something.
Oh, that's actually a super important tip because if you're not used to looking at it, you'd be surprised sometimes and you go, what's this? And $7.99 here, $8.99 there. And it's like Paramount Plus. And you go out, hey, babe, do you ever watch Paramount Plus? What's that? Exactly. Cancel that subscription. All those streaming services can add up.
Well, that's one of those things that the CFPB had been working on previously, was this making it really hard for you to be able to cancel a service. The rule was you should be able to cancel a service as easily as you could subscribe to it. But those rules are going away. And so now you'll have to do the no, we can't cancel it unless you send us a physical letter in the mail, or it's like the old gym memberships. We can't cancel it unless you physically come in person.
Oh, they still do that sometimes. Oh, that just used to piss me. Oh, it still does. It pisses me off when, like, you son of a, you know, you're going to make me drive down there so you can just give me the freaking pitch and act like I'm not adult enough to
Right.
make the decision, and then shame me because I might be a little pudgy in the middle. And then you're going to give me that look like you're quitting the gym.
Right. Are you sure?
F you, gym bro.
Or you get there and you get the message, I'm sorry, Bob's not here today. He's the
Yeah,
only one that can do it.
you might as well work out while you're here. Wouldn't hurt. Bastards.
So if you skip through January and you didn't start to take action, you didn't total up your debt, you didn't start to think about this, you gave up that there was any sort of hope. Well, good news. It's February.
New month, new you.
That's right. New you. So it doesn't matter when you start. The goal is not perfection. It's just motion, just one step at a time, because motion creates momentum and momentum creates change. And picking up your mouse and clicking on it and going to Damon's website, talking to him can radically change your life.
Well, and I must interject. We're gonna have to probably start doing these podcasts every other week because I'm getting a lot of calls, so it's fine, and I'm trying to make time, but I also still have, you know, clients and a life. So,
Right.
You know, it's good though. I enjoy helping people. I enjoy talking to people, and that's good. But apparently, there's more than a handful of people listening to us now,
Yeah.
because I'm getting a lot of phone calls.
All right. So, what is the advice that we want to leave people with today? What should they do today? We talked about totaling up what you owe, not panicking, realizing you can reach out to get help, taking some sort of action. And part of that action is understanding what scams and ripoffs are out there right now so you can prevent yourself from falling into one of them. One of them I talked about last month in a post was there's always a business opportunity scam, but this was a new one on me. People were selling start your own hotshot or trucking company.
Mm-hmm.
Scam. They were taking the money to set it up, never setting it up, and just running with the money.
They're hot-shotting it across the country with your money.
That's right.
They had a trailer full of cash.
Yeah. I hadn't run across that one before. I mean, plenty of payphones and vending machines, and back in the day, it was the long-distance calling cards. Every sort of pill, powder, or potion you can think of. But trucking company? No, that was a new one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, we talked about it last month. It's monotonous and it sucks, but, you know, adding up everything, you know, and if you don't use a software to track it, I like Monarch Money. If you're in the Apple ecosystem, Apple has a good program. Why is the name slipping my mind right now?
I like a legal pad and a pen.
I'm not that old. So yeah, Monarch Money is usually the one that I recommend to clients. It's great because it'll automatically track all of your expenses. You can link all of your accounts to it, credit cards, everything. And then you get, you know, nice, beautiful charts, and you see exactly where all of your money's going. And from there, you can start planning. So if you have not done that yet, you definitely need to do that, because not knowing how big the problem is allows you to ignore it longer. And ignoring it is expensive.
And we're not talking about making a budget, because as I have said for the last 30 plus years, a budget is nothing but a page of lies. All right. It's going to set you up for failure. And it's probably the most counterproductive thing that you can do. The most productive thing that you can do is track where you're actually spending your money. Take the next 30 days and just add it up. Just write it down, add it up. And then you'll have real data that you can make good decisions that actually affect your life. And you can make informed decisions instead of making a wish list on how much you make or how much you spend.
Yeah. And I know Steve's, you know, just clinging to this write it down thing, but Monarch Money will do all that for you, make it easier. it'll write it all down for you, and you can look at it and you can track it. But if pen and legal pads are your thing, hey, go ham with that. That's okay. Just do something.
I've been suffering on the iPhone lately with apps because it seems like I don't know what's happening. Is it my reflex speed or whatever? But the minute my finger goes to push the button, something pops up and then bing, you're in the wrong thing now.
Oh, well, it's usually a freaking ad.
Yeah.
You are the product.
All right. Well, next week, we're going to go deep on something most people don't talk about. It's the fear that's really stopping you. Absolutely. Emotion, not math. Because it's probably not what you think. It's not the debt. It's not even the money. It's something else. And it's the fear that actually is stopping you that we're going to be talking about.
Oh, that's my cue.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one last takeaway for this podcast. If you've done what we said, you added everything up, you see the hole that you're in, you're starting to, look at options, look at debt relief companies, and maybe talking to bankruptcy attorneys or whatever. A shameless plug, just go to my website, damonday.com, find a spot on my schedule, request a call. I can talk it through with you, and we can figure out what's going to make the most sense, and just give you some actionable steps to move forward with. But and at the very least, you can say, I'm looking at this, and I can say, no, and no, or whatever. Maybe you're looking at something that makes a lot of sense, but I don't charge anything for the initial calls. So, and I try to add as much value as I can. As Steve said, sometimes people call me, free call, give them a ton of information, and they're off to the races. I don't hear from them again, which is fine. They got what they needed. So, this podcast doesn't judge you for being human. We all stall. We all hesitate. What matters is getting back on track. So if you need weekly reminders and you're not alone, and progress is possible. So stay subscribed here and we will help you through it together. Now, right now, before you do anything else, send yourself an email with the subject line, my one action this week. In the body, write the one thing you are going to do before next Thursday, as it pertains to your finances, your debt, whatever. Then put a reminder in your calendar for Saturday to make sure you do it.
If you want to reach out to us, you have a question you want us to talk about on the show, then you can go to getoutofdebt.org/podcast, and there's a form there that you can send it in. So no worries. January's over. Your resolution may have stalled, but you're still here and you're still listening and you're still trying. And damn it, that counts. So let's make February the month you actually start to move, take action. And until next week, I will see ya.
Peace.